Ecchi and harem anime, considered to be the true peak of anime to teenagers all across the world. Surely there's no harm in being part of the culture, right? If you know the anime that was the thumbnail for this video, then this video is definitely for you. If you guys are anything like me, being into anime before I hit puberty, ecchi harem anime was basically my first introduction to porn. I mean, shows like this one pretty much towed a thin line between like suggestive content and straight up porn. And when I was first introduced to this kind of anime, I was immediately hooked, as I was just starting puberty and I was very curious about sex. For a period of my life, all I would watch is harem anime. Apparently, I even told a friend of mine that High School DxD was the best anime ever made. I know, right? I mean, we all know it's XR. This led me down the path of eventually stumbling across hentai, and a choice to masturbate to hentai has effects on me to this day, 6 years later. This leads me to the dangers of ecchi anime. So the first thing consuming a lot of ecchi anime and hentai was it gave me unrealistic expectations of women and sex. You know, being a 12, 13-year-old boy who just hit puberty, I was very curious about sex. I hadn't had much experience with women, you know, how women look, to the way they interact with other men. And if you're watching a bunch of hentai and ecchi anime, it's gonna be harder for you to actually have sex in real life with a woman. And porn is the biggest reason for the increase in erectile dysfunction in young men. The second thing this did was degrade my ability to delay gratification. And what this means is it affected my ability to actually have control over my decisions. And this was evident because around the time that I found hentai and ecchi and harem, I was the biggest I had ever been in my life. Imagine being 180 pounds at 12 years old. And this was definitely played in part by my indulgence in the flesh in these instant gratification activities, which basically means that they're gratifying right now, but they may lead to long-term consequences, such as excessive eating, for example, which affects your health in the long term. As men, we have to have the ability to delay gratification if we want to create value for ourselves. In terms of work, in terms of fitness, in terms of relationships, we're going to have to delay gratification. If you want to make a YouTube, for example, you're going to have to work months, maybe even years before you get monetized. You're not necessarily going to see the fruits of your labor that same day. And the same is if you go to the gym. The first day, you're going to be sore. You're not going to notice any difference in the mirror. But over time, that compound belief in the delaying gratification, you're going to eventually end up with your 10 out of 10 body, whatever you define as your goal. Now, the third thing this did was it was a causing factor for my social anxiety, my low confidence, low self-esteem. Let me give you a little background. I used to live in Texas when I was around 12, 13, and it was my last year of middle school, so I would be going to high school after that. And we were deciding to move to different states. We were deciding to move to California, and that meant I was gonna have to leave pretty much all my friends behind and start a new social life in California. I was moving in the summer. Now, right before summer is when I discovered ecchi and hentai and harem anime. And once I moved to California, my lifestyle switched. I ran from real life interaction. I had social anxiety. I wouldn't be able to actually go out and meet new people. And I spent that period of my life inside my computer. And the crazy thing is, for years, I thought that that was the peak of my life, the most fun I'd ever have in my life. And I look back now, not with a sense of regret, but just the utter delusion I had for believing that that was the peak of my life. And once you experience the other side of a man's life and how amazing it can be, having a social life, working on a business, having a nice body, having good social skills, you realize that there's so much more to life than just the internet. A big factor of solving all of these things for me was to actually quit watching porn, quit watching ecchi, quit watching harem. There's something called nofap, which I discovered discovered when I was 15, 16 years old. And it was very intriguing to me that it was a group of young men around the world saying that they wouldn't masturbate to porn. And me being a 15, 16-year-old, I was like, well, why would they do that? That makes no sense. All our lives, we're all told that masturbating to porn as a teenager is normal. And yes, it may be normal for a lot of people, but that doesn't mean that it's good. It is not good for you. So I challenge you guys to do a 30-day nofap challenge. Don't watch any porn, don't masturbate to any porn, and don't masturbate in general. And I want you to note the benefits for yourself, because there's no harm in trying it. And I promise you that if you go 30 days without it, you will never want to go back. I have increased energy now. I have increased productivity now. I have what feels like increased testosterone because I'm just so driven to actually achieve my goals. I have been much happier. My mental health is amazing. Now, nofap basically deals with your mental health, and that's why mental health as a young man is so important if you want to become successful at anything. I actually made a video on mental health that I put up on the screen that you guys should go check out right now, because it's very vital towards your success as a man. I'm Nori. I help motivate men through anime, and to those who try, believe in me who believes in you. Nori, signing out.